When is it too early to start preparing for the holiday season? When you're a knitter, it's never too early. Hey there, Fiber Junkies! Welcome back to the Color Cauldron. I'm Johanna, the owner and dyer behind Potion Yarns and host of this podcast. Today we have a fun topic that I have been thinking a lot about lately. Holiday gift knitting. Whether you celebrate Christmas or Hanukkah or Yule or Kwanzaa or any other holidays, or whether you don't celebrate anything at all, there is probably some time throughout the year, if not multiple times throughout the year, when you are needing to have gifts ready for someone that you care about. So we have a couple videos that we're going to be doing over the next couple weeks on the podcast. Today I want to give you 10 reasons why you should knit or make your handmade gifts. I'm specifically addressing this towards knitters, but this really applies to any type of handmade item, whether it's bath and body products, a baked good, something that you weave or sew, crochet, whatever it is that you are making. If you're making something with your hands instead of just going to the store and buying something, not that there's anything wrong with that, but if you're making something with your hands, this will apply to you too. So today we have 10 reasons why you should give gifts that you have made. Next week, we're going to have a video that goes over tips for making your handmade gifts, or tips to think about. Specifically, that one is going to be aimed a little more specifically at knitters and crocheters, but yeah, check that one out as well. So what are the 10 reasons why you should consider giving handmade this holiday season? Number 1, it gives you, the crafter, a chance to make more stuff. Who doesn't want the chance to make more stuff? If you're seriously obsessed, like I am with my crafts, you want more time than you have in a day to work on your hobby, or to work on your many hobbies, as many of us have more than just one hobby. So there's the really great excuse when you're giving this as a gift is it gives you the chance to make more. Specifically, you get to make things that maybe you wouldn't normally make for yourself. Maybe you're making a gift for somebody and their style is completely different than yours, and you get the chance to knit something for them or sew something for them that you wouldn't normally make for yourself because you don't wear that style. Or maybe it's a color that you don't normally like, or you like in yarn, you always see, maybe you love yellow yarns when they're on the shelf, but you look in yellow, so you never buy them for yourself. But your sister looks amazing in yellow and she loves it, it's her favorite color. Now you get to go buy that gorgeous yellow yarn and make her something for her birthday or Christmas or Mother's Day or whatever. It gives you the chance to work with things you wouldn't normally get to. It also gives you the chance just to make more stuff, which of course gets to show off your skills. Now people get to see the things that you make and how awesome you are. How many times do we get to brag on ourselves, and how many times do we feel comfortable bragging on ourselves? And giving a gift is a great way to show off what you can do without feeling braggy about it. And more often than not, the person receiving it is going to be like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, you're so good. Did you make this for reals? And you get to be like, oh yeah, that old thing, yeah, of course I made that, It feels great, but you don't have to be super braggy about it. And there's no reason to feel shy about claiming the awesomeness of your work. And that's a really good way for some of us who are a little bit more shy about, well, I should be careful there. I'm not shy about it. I'm just like, look at this amazing thing I made. But some people are really shy about it and don't really like to just constantly be like, oh my gosh, look at me and the thing I made. So this gives them a great way to put their skills and their talents out in the world without feeling so shy and feeling like they're bragging about it. But also it just gives you the chance to make more stuff. How many of us could knit way more things than we can possibly wear? Number 2, it saves you money. Sometimes. We all know, especially if you're a fiber snob like I am, it can also run the budget quite a bit up if you're not careful and you don't watch how much you spend. However, there are ways that you can manage to save money by using what you already have in your stash. That's one of my favorite tricks for holiday knitting. I can still use nice quality stuff, but I can go stash diving. Cleans out a little more space, so now I have a good excuse to buy more, and it provides something really nice without me having to put out the money right then. So then when times are tight, or the years that I didn't get the big bonus I was expecting, or I didn't make as much money, or I had some extra setbacks or some unexpected medical bills or something, those years that my Christmas budget is a little bit lower, I can definitely feel better about still creating a great gift but not having to spend so much money because I already had the yarn purchased and just sitting there anyways. So stash diving is one of my favorite tips for saving money. But even if I have to go out and purchase yarns, a lot of times it's still more affordable to go out and purchase a skein or two of yarn, or even a few skeins of yarn, and create something by hand for somebody really special for me than trying to show them how special they are with a dollar amount by just buying things. It always feels like I need to buy a little bit more than when I'm making something. So it can get really, really expensive, and when you are hand making something, it really does even out to be more affordable in the long run. At least for me, most of the time it does. It's a great way to work when you're on a budget. And this is also a good time to point out that it doesn't always have to be hand knit or hand crocheted. This is applying to all handmade gifts. So there are a lot of other gifts out there, like when we were first married, we had very little money the first couple years we were married, and we had a big family on both sides, and we wanted to give a lot of gifts because we love giving gifts to our family and friends. And so I really wanted to be able to hand out gifts to a lot of the people that meant a lot to us and were in our lives, but we just didn't have the money. And so I started finding creative ways to make a lot of gifts. Many of those were hand knit gifts, but not all of them were. I ran out of time to knit something for everybody, plus I was running low on yarn. So I ended up doing homemade bath products, baked goods, creating little things that I could make by hand, like home decor and stuff for close friends and family, and most of them went over really great, and it was a great way for me to save money but still show somebody how much they meant to me. That leads us into number 3. The third reason that you should give handmade this Christmas season or this holiday season is because sometimes it is cheaper, but like we talked about, sometimes it's not. However, it is so much easier to justify spending money and time on your hobby when you're giving it as a gift, right? How many of us suffer from that guilt of really wanting to buy some more fancy, beautiful yarn at the new trunk show we went to, but feeling like I already have a couple suitcases full of yarn at home, or maybe you just don't have the time. Maybe you've got like 6 works in progress going on the needles, and you've got 3 more in your queue after that, and you've already got yarn picked out for some more, and yet you still want to buy that new pattern or that new kit at your yarn store. It's so much harder to justify that when you're keeping everything for yourself. Although I'm a big proponent of what's called selfish knitting, which I hate that term. That's a subject for another video that we'll get to later. But I don't usually suffer from as much guilt on making things for myself as some people, but even I do that occasionally where I'm like, oh, I've already spent a lot on yarn this year. I shouldn't buy any more yarn probably. It's not like I don't have plenty at home. And so I'll talk myself out of buying yarn for myself, but if I know that I have a birthday coming up that I need a gift from my girlfriend, it's so easy to just go to the yarn store and plunk down the credit card and pick up a couple more skeins and be like, but this is a gift. This isn't for me. This is me being selfless. I'm giving up this money for someone else, not for me. It's also easy to justify the time because sometimes I feel really guilty putting aside household chores to sit down and work on my knitting. Working on that attitude because I shouldn't feel guilty, but sometimes I feel guilty about that. Whereas when I'm working on holiday gifts, especially the closer we get to the deadline, the more I will push any kind of work to the side that I can because I have to finish this gift in time. It's almost Christmas and I need these Christmas gifts for our family. So it's a really great excuse to justify spending time and money on your hobby and the things that you love without having any of that guilt that goes along with doing it for yourself. The fourth reason that you should give handmade this year is because handmade takes time. It's so true, right? Like you could go to the store and pick up a sweater this afternoon in a couple of hours, maybe even less if you live close to the store and you don't have a huge line. You could probably just go pick up a gift like that. Or you know what? These days, you don't even have to get out of the house. You can get on Amazon.com, and if you have a Prime membership, you can pick it out in 15 minutes and get it shipped within 1 to 2 days to your house, and boom. And you can even have it gift wrapped or sent directly to the person. It's so easy. It's so easy. Why is it so easy to give a gift? Is that what we really want? Yes, sometimes we do really want that because we all have busy, crazy lives, and I am the last person to oppose online shopping. I use it frequently. I'm a big proponent of it. I think it's awesome. And as someone who has an online store, I highly recommend it. But also, I'm not gonna lie, I love Amazon Prime. It's amazing for me, especially when I'm on a deadline or I need something like as soon as possible, or I can't get out to the store, or there isn't a store in my area that has the thing that I need, or whatever else. It's a great thing. I'm not knocking it. But when I want to communicate to my friends and family that they mean a lot to me, that I value them, and that they are worth a lot in my heart, I want to give them something that communicates that sense of value. And while I would never say that spending money on a gift that you buy online or in the store or wherever is devaluing to someone, I think it's always the thought behind the gift. And literally, even if it takes them 2 minutes to pick something out on Amazon, we're all so busy, we don't even have 2 minutes in our day. So this is in no way meant to put you down if you are purchasing gifts or people giving you gifts that they've purchased. Not a thing. I am not trying to put anyone down for their gift giving. But I know that there are times when a store-bought gift just doesn't convey what I want to say. It just doesn't have the same punch that something handmade has. When I make a gift for someone, I am spending hours and hours and hours on that gift. Because first of all, I have to come up with the idea. I have to figure out what I want to get them or what I want to create, and then I have to find a pattern or design one myself. Then I have to pick out the yarn and make sure that it fits with the pattern, which requires swatching usually, especially if it's something that needs to fit. Then I have to make the thing, then I have to weave in the ends. Assuming that it's something that needs blocking, I might have to block it. Last year I made some felted slippers for someone in our family, and I had to felt that, which ended up taking way longer than I thought it would. You have to sew on any buttons or zippers or tags or embroidery or anything else that you're doing. There's hours and hours that go into this. And people who don't knit or crochet by hand often don't realize how many hours go into their handmade pair of socks. And they would probably be horrified if they knew, actually. But hopefully they would feel honored if it's a gift that you've given them. So I love to give handmade because I love for people to know you meant so much to me that I took a lot of time to work something up with my hands, to make something specifically for you, even though it took me a lot longer than if I just got on Amazon and ordered it or went to the store and picked it up. Reason number 5, it promotes handmade in our increasingly technological world. When we are promoting the value of handmade items by sharing them with the world, we're teaching people how to appreciate something that is made by hand. And that's unfortunately something that is dying off in our world. We have how many generations behind us of years and years where handmade was oftentimes the only way you could get something. And even when something started to be mass produced, there were still a lot of people who couldn't afford it, or maybe it wasn't up to the quality that they were looking for, or whatever else it was. There was always a strong handmade element to societies that have come before us. And really within the last 100 years or less, we have gotten further and further away from that, to the point where a lot of people in our world don't ever make anything by their own hands. And when we teach people how to appreciate the handmade and to see that it's not the same as comparing it to something mass produced in a factory, it's not something that you can compare. It's like comparing apples and oranges. Yeah, they're all fruit at the end of the day, but they're very, very different. And if you judge an apple by the way an orange is supposed to be, you're going to be disappointed. Same kind of a thing with handmade. It's all the same. Maybe they're all the same sweater. They're all a piece of clothing. But a handmade sweater is going to be very, very different than a store-bought sweater. And there are going to be times when the store-bought might be better for you, but we need to teach people to appreciate the handmade and what makes them special and why it's so valuable. Teaching people that an average pair of socks takes most knitters between 10 and 20 hours to crank out a pair of socks. That's a lot. When you can go get factory made socks at Walmart for $1 or $2 a pair, right? Like, that's a lot. That's a very different product. So teaching people about that and teaching them to appreciate that by having them experience it is totally different. Number 6, handmade produces unique items, not mass-produced gifts. This is really, really important because how many times have you gone to a baby shower or a wedding shower, and even if you use the registry, you buy something and then the new mom or the new bride opens the gift and is like, "Oh, thank you." And it's the same thing she just got twice already at the same shower. We've been in baby shower mode, and we have a ton of friends getting married and having babies right now. So I've been to a bunch of showers and given a lot of gifts as well as received a lot right now. And I don't think that I have ever in my life attended a shower of any kind where there wasn't at least one duplicate gift. And it's not a big deal. It really is nothing to be embarrassed about if it happens to you, especially when it's something like that where there's a registry and then people are also picking out items that they find useful or that they like. It's not a big deal, but it always happens. And even though I know it's not a big deal, and like when I'm the recipient of the gift, I'm never upset. I'm always just like, "Oh, great, I've got a backup," or worst case scenario, I take it back to the store. Everywhere anymore is pretty good about giving at least giving you store credit or something and I'll get something I really need. It's not a big deal when I'm the recipient, but when I'm the gift giver, I'm always like, oh man, I got her the same thing. Dang it, how disappointing. I love to be able to give something that somebody really enjoys, but is also unique. And with Handmade, you never have to worry about that. Because even if they get another sweater for Christmas, it's not going to be the same sweater that you did. Even if it's another hand knit sweater, it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be the same in some way. Different pattern, different color, different size. And more than likely, it's probably going to be store-bought and yours will be handmade. So you don't ever have to worry about having duplicate gifts, but also you get to make it as unique as you want it to be. So you can change the color, you can add embroidery, you can make it a different size, you can change the proportions. You can make it as personalized as possible for the person you're giving the gift to. And isn't that what giving a gift is about? It's about giving something that is personal, that speaks to them, that proves to them that they are of value to you and that you are thinking about them and you know them and you appreciate them and you want them to have something as special as they are. Number 7, it's a great way to use up extras, scraps, and single skeins. Now this does depend on the project that you are using. It won't work for everything, and there's plenty of times that I have to order yarn specifically for projects. However, it really is a great time to look around for those patterns that work well with either oddballs or scraps of yarn, like Fair Isle can use up scraps really, really great. Or just like single skein things like a little tiny shawlette or a headband. Or I love, love, love to give hats to all ages, from babies all the way up to grandpas and everything in between. I love to give a handmade hat because hand knitted or hand crocheted hats usually use up a single skein or less. A lot of the hats I make use less than a skein, so I can get a couple hats out of one skein, or I can use up scraps that are left over from a sweater or a pair of socks, and I can make a hat. Everybody always needs a hat at some point in their lives. They don't have to fit perfectly. It's a lot easier to fit. Like, you do have some issues of fit, especially with babies and kids, but it's a lot easier to find somebody that the hat will fit. You don't have to worry about gauge as much with a hat. So there's a lot of great reasons that I like to do them, but that's a wonderful way to use up scraps, extras, oddballs, or like we already talked about, go stash diving. See if whether you need 1 or 5 skeins. Just go check out your stash before you go to the store. You might have what you need for some awesome gifts in there. Another reason you should make handmade is because it tends to last longer than mass-produced. Now this is something that comes with a caveat. It doesn't always, and a lot of this depends on your skill level and the quality of the supplies that you use. However, oftentimes, handmade items will outlast their store-bought counterparts. I specifically think of this a lot too with when it comes to technology. We have a lot of people in our family who are very tech savvy and enjoy getting gadgets and extras to add to their cell phones, computers, iPads, etc. That like all of the new fancy technology, the newfangled things. They always want the new earbuds or whatever. Nothing wrong with that. Again, we all use a lot of technology, including myself. However, I get very frustrated that I can spend a ton of money on technology or electronics, and it seems like they don't last that long. They're either outdated pretty quickly, or they have issues, or they start running slow, or I have to upgrade to the next new model, or download this thing, or that thing. It's so frustrating to me that I feel like, you know, cell phones are obsolete within a few months. It seems like iPads don't last that long. All of these things, even, you know, earbuds and things like that. I don't know how many pairs of earbuds I have gone through in the last 5 years, but it's ridiculous. A lot more than 5. I can tell you that, which is more than 1 a year. I hate it. It's really bad. And handmade items do not tend to go through, you don't tend to go through them as quickly. Now, yes, hand knits can get a little ratty. Sweaters can pill, things can, little ends can work themselves out, you can rip it. There's a whole bunch of things that can go wrong with hand knits, but there's things that go wrong with everything, literally anything that we buy. They're all pretty much perishable items at the end of the day eventually, and so the item itself probably won't last for forever, but a lot of times hand knits or handmade items will last longer and be of better value than their counterparts that you buy at the store. And there are people out there, depending on your skill level and the quality of the supplies that you use, there are people out there who create amazing, intricate, beautiful hand knits that end up becoming heirloom pieces that are passed down through the family. In my experience, these tend to be the pieces that are really, really special, so they don't get worn every single day. Your very favorite cozy lounge about the house sweater probably isn't going to make it to your granddaughter. probably, because you're probably going to wear it a lot more, wash it a lot more. It's going to see a lot more action. But that really special lacy little glittery mohair special bolero that you wear once in a blue moon, you maybe wear it 3 times a year or something, that might actually go to your granddaughter or great-granddaughter someday if you take care of it and keep it nice. That's a really cool feeling. Now that we're getting ready to have a baby, I keep talking to other moms who tell me about getting hand-me-downs from previous generations. Sometimes it's a hand-sewn baby dress, sometimes it's a hand-knit sweater or a little layette set or something like that. But there's a lot of hand knits out there that are passed down through generations of babies, and that's a really cool thing, that just to think that something you made might actually outlive you. That's incredible. So that's another great reason to go handmade. The 9th reason why you should make handmade this year for the holidays is because it teaches you to plan ahead. Now that may not sound very exciting, but it's a really good skill to have. When you're making a gift, you have to think about it ahead of time. There is no, or I shouldn't say there is no, because there are some things you can make, especially if you're not knitting or crocheting, depending on what skill you're using to make and how big the item is and how intricate it is. You might be able to pull something off like the night before Christmas Eve night, cast something on, or run into your art studio or whatever it is and create something, just whip something up on a whim. But the huge majority of the time, you're not going to be able to finish it in time, and it's not going to look good, it's not going to be good, it's not going to be what you want, or you won't have the supplies you need anyways. So when you make something by hand, you have to plan ahead. A lot of times, as knitters and crocheters, we have to start creating our holiday gifts months ahead of time. We can't wait until December 20th to cast on that sweater for Uncle Bob. Like, we got to start at least the beginning of December, and that's if we're making something small and only 1 or 2. But for those of us that are knitting for multiple people on our list, we got to start September, maybe July. Some of us start in January. I kid you not, I have started in December for the next December's holiday season on certain gifts, because I was like, I know I have a lot going on, I tend to procrastinate and then I won't get it done, and I've got the yarn right now, I've got the idea, I've got the pattern, I know the size I need to make, I'm just gonna whip it out now and then store it until next year, and then I've already got one gift done. And that is such a good feeling. I typically tend to start my holiday knitting somewhere between July and September. However, I have started as early as the previous December, and last year I started in April, which I was really proud of myself for. And I had plenty of time to get things done, and I spent most of December knitting something for myself, which was amazing. So it teaches you to plan ahead, to think through what you need, to work on making sure you have the tools you need, the time you need, etc. And that's always a good skill to have in life, not just for gift giving, for everything. So it's great skill building. And our final reason why you should do handmade for the holidays this year, it inspires others to create or to learn something new. If you guys have been around the podcast at all, for even just a couple weeks, you know that that is my passion. My passion is creating things with my hands that bring beauty to the world, but also, just as importantly, to inspire other people to want to create with their hands. I love nothing more than getting somebody else excited about something. I cannot tell you the number of times that I have created something handmade for somebody at the holidays, given it away, and either the recipient themselves or someone else who's noticing it or sees what I've given is like, oh my gosh, you made that? That is so cool. I wish I could do something like that. Perfect opening to, oh great, I'll come over and teach you sometime, or you should, let me send you a link to a really great video. Hey, Potion Yarns has a great everything you need to know to get started video, including what to buy at the store and then how to cast on and knit. Maybe I'll send you the link to her video. It's a great opportunity to just get people excited about the idea of what they can create. Remember when you first started knitting or crocheting or sewing or whatever it is that you do as your hobby? When you very first started, what was it that inspired you to want to start? It's different for everybody, and there's probably a wide variety of reasons why even one individual would start wanting to learn to knit or something. But I would hazard a guess that at least 99% of us, if not all 100% of us that now knit or crochet, the reason we wanted to start, or one of the reasons we wanted to start, was because we saw something knit or crocheted that really knocked our socks off. We saw something cool and we wanted to do it too. Whether that was something in person, maybe it was something our mom or our sister made, maybe it was something that somebody on the bus was knitting and we were like, whoa, that's cool. Or maybe it was just on the internet or in a magazine and we saw, oh my gosh, they knit that coat? That's incredible. But a lot of times you see the finished item, you see the skill that years of practice goes into making, and you're like, I want to do that. And then you learn, and then you find out that it's going to take you a while to get to that level, but that's what inspires you to get started. So if we're giving away pieces of handmade art to people, we're giving the opportunity to get inspired, the opportunity to look at something and say, that's cool, I want to make that. I can do that too. Or I want to learn to do that. I just want to try. Maybe I won't ever get to that level, but I'm going to at least take that how to knit class. I'm going to go to that crochet group and give it a try. It's a wonderful way to inspire others, and that is perhaps the best gift that you can give of all, because now you are not just giving a man a fish, you are teaching him to fish, right? You are giving someone the gift of creating magic with their hands, and that is something that will never leave them. The magic of creating never leaves your soul, even when your hands can't do it anymore. The magic and the skills that you learned through a lifetime of creation, it goes way deeper than just the item we make with our hands. It goes way deeper than the rhythm of the needles in our fingers. It goes down to your very soul. It is the divine spark within you, and that is a gift that everyone should have, and that is worth more than anything you can buy at the store or on Amazon. So I encourage you to think about who you could give to this year, what you could give, and y'all, it's September. We gotta get on this. We gotta get cracking because there's only a few months till December. And if you are giving holiday gifts this year anytime, but especially if you're giving them over the December holidays, now is the time to get started. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button below because you do not want to miss next week's video, which is going to be all about tips for your holiday knitting. So this will be some little tips to help you further along on your journey of success, things you can think about that will really jumpstart your creativity and get you in a good position so you're not scrambling and panicky and you end up with gifts that you're proud of and not feeling stressed out about. Thank you guys so much for watching. Give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to share it with all of your crafty friends, and I will talk to you later, but it is now time to cast off. Love you.